Most founders think hiring more developers makes them faster. I've watched the opposite happen again and again. In this video, I'll show you the exact system I use to decide when to hire, so you don't get stuck paying developers to build the wrong thing. I will walk you through the proof of concept to MVP path, the defensive developer trap, and the rules that keep you flexible. If let's say you hire a developer and you're moving into proof of concept, I drew this here as a linear kind of progress. From the POC, you get the MVP and then everything is clear. But that's actually not the way it actually works. So the way it works is you have to iterate on things. You have to try different things out. So it's not just one proof of concept, it's multiple ones. Let's say here. This is actually a normal thing. And people just try different things. That's normal. If you look into anyone like these indie hackers, they have one project in 1 week or one project in 1 month. They're trying out multiple things because then they know in their head it's fine if they can throw something away and then move on to the next thing. If you hire a developer, this is much harder to do. So if you're hiring too fast and you have a developer who you instruct to do something, a developer is always a person who thinks, okay, what happens if this doesn't scale? Or if there's something that's not optimal here. Developers have a very hard time being very focused on speed of execution. Usually they want to do the job right because that's what we get taught all the time in computer science: scalability, database normalization. We always try to do a good job. Now, doing a good job is actually a problem. Let's say if this is your proof of concept that you actually want to make and this leads to the MVP, but you hired the developer here and you told them to work on this thing and the developer does not understand that this is just a prototype, then suddenly you're stuck. This thing becomes bigger and you will not reach this phase. This means hiring too fast. If you do that, there's only one way out, where you have a conversation with the developer and say, okay, this doesn't work what we have been doing. Let us work on faster iterations. You don't build scalable things. You just build the crappiest version you can, and we build more of them. One proof of concept in a given week. And then you iterate with your customers and see what they really need. That would be the solution here. This is why what we told our developers is we are trying out different things, and then we are throwing all the code away, and then we are starting new from scratch into the MVP. That's one solution out of that. But we are phrasing it to the developer. We're setting the expectations right. We are not telling them to go all in on this one idea. We're telling them, make this in a very bad version because we're going to delete your code. And then we're going to rethink this, what we actually want. So yeah, it can happen that you're hiring too fast. Hiring too slow, the only thing that you're wasting is your own time. And maybe you need to pause the development because you don't have a developer to take it over. That's possible. Hiring too fast is rather a problem. And there are other problems with hiring too fast. What if you hire someone, let's say you hire not just one, you hire the 3 people, you hire a team. Now they become friends and you cannot let them go. If you hire one person, the other person might also leave. So that's actually a problem. Let's say you hire an agency. Someone, this guy here has a hat. So he's the agency owner. Now you're working on a proof of concept that will never sell because maybe you haven't validated enough. Or maybe you're validated, but it's not going in the right direction. These guys are going to do everything to stay in jobs. And now you're stuck. And I have seen this happening, and there is a way out. You can slowly direct it. You can slowly go from here to there, but it takes much more resources. So if you're running out of money here, you might not have all the energy and to back on track. So yeah, hiring too fast is usually a problem. Hiring too slow only means you're doing a couple of things yourself. You're wasting some time iterating. But then when you know what you want, then you don't have a developer. So the only thing that can happen is this would take more time. I would always err on the side of hiring slower. If you're hiring developers right now and you want to avoid the expensive mistakes, subscribe and like this video because I have more content like this that will help you move faster with your software project and make money with software as a service products. What are the options if you're actually stuck with a couple of developers and you don't, let's say you have a product that's either not done yet or it is done and it doesn't make enough money? Now you need to let some of them go. Of course, that's a problem. If that's a whole agency, agencies are made for the case that you need to scale down. When I was around 22, I had my first software agency and I met another business owner with another agency. He had 200 developers and back then we had less than 10. And he asked me, in what business are you? And I said, I'm just we make good software products. And he said, no, everybody's making good software products. Your business that you're in right now is the dynamic scaling of manpower up and down, or workforce, you want to call it. If your client wants another developer, you get them and you lease them out to the client. If your client wants less developers, you also make that happen and you take the hit and you put them on the bench. And back then I didn't understand that, but it's now totally clear that this is what sometimes needs to happen. If you have an agency and you have a good relationship with them, you might be able to scale down. But of course, they're going to try to extract as much money from you as possible. And it's the same with developers. And I've seen developers constantly trying to upsell, trying to make more features and stringing the clients along, even though the product did not work. This can happen. The only way here, I think the best way out here is just do a reset, consolidate, and maybe even move on. Maybe start with someone who's a better technical leader who understands your business. Or if it's not the right business, we just scrap the business. So there's a chance that this proof of concept never makes it to production. It's never making to an MVP. So start over. That's also fine. But yeah, if you have a lot of people attached to this, then it's going to be harder and harder. There are even people who charge in some kind of coaching program to help you let people go. This is not nice. Like, you don't want to let people go. It kind of invalidates you as an entrepreneur, because if you cannot pay your team, then what kind of entrepreneur are you? And I get that. That's why hiring slower is usually the better solution. And once you have your developer, you need to onboard them. You can watch this video in order to see how we do it in our software as a service business.